Okay, so here is number 9 from your homework on 3.9. The directions say solve. Well, when I look at this problem, I notice that there is an m squared. Okay, so there's the highest degree is a squared, which makes it a quadratic equation. In order to solve a quadratic equation, the only way we know how to do that so far is by factoring. So I have to factor this and see what two possible answers there are. So what I'm going to do is make sure it's set equal to 0, which it is. The next thing I want to do is I want to pull out the GCF so I can work with some smaller numbers. So they share a 2, and 8 divided by 2 is 4, m squared, minus, well, 2 divided by 2 is 1. Okay. Notice that I pulled out the GCF before I put this 0 in the B spot since the B is missing. If I put the 0 in before I pulled out the GCF of 2, well, 8, 0, and 2 would not have anything in common, and I would end up working with large numbers. But it's up to you if you want to pull out the GCF at the beginning or the end. Okay, but here I'm going to go ahead and factor this trinomial expression that I have, and I need to find factors of -4 that add to be 0. Well, the square root, I know when the b term is missing, you take the square root, and one's going to be a +2, the other one's going to be a -2. So let's go ahead and expand that. I'm going to put the -2m first so I don't have to deal with the third term being negative. I'm going to go ahead and do factor by grouping, and I'm going to get a 2m times 2m minus 1, okay, because 2 divided by 2 is 1, m divided by m is 1, so I have to put a 1 there. And then here I look at 2m minus 1 and say, they don't have anything in common except a 1, so I have to pull a 1 out, okay, it can be a positive 1 here, and I get 2m minus 1. And then when I rewrite this, I'm going to bring this 2 back down and rewrite my equation that I'm working with and say that, well, it's 2 times 2m plus 1 and times 2m minus 1. And those three things, when I multiply them together, they equal 0. So now I have to say, well, what values can make each one of these factors be 0? And of course, this 2 right here, 2 equal to 0, there's no variable, it's not true, so we ignore him because he doesn't have a letter. We set 2m plus 1 equal to 0. And we solve and we get m equals a -1/2. There's one answer that should work. And then the other one should be 2m minus 1 equals 0. So m would equal a +1/2. And those are the two solutions, x-intercepts, roots, zeros, that make this equation true.